Welcome, and thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us. I am Rob Metzinger, founder of Safe Living Technologies. Some of you may know me as an EMF instructor for the Institute of Building Biology, and I will be one of the sponsored speakers at the 2021 EMF Medical Conference. As you know, we are continually exposed to radio frequency radiation from sources inside of our home and outside of our home. This is a growing concern. Safe Living Technologies was established in 2006, and we've been working with radio frequency meters for over 15 years. We've been assessing homes for electrically sensitive individuals for over 15 years, and we've used this experience to design our own radio frequency meter, the Safe and Sound Pro 2. It is easy to use and affordable. They have been extensively tested and developed in a certified testing facility, and it's the only RF meter in its price range to provide a frequency response graph. It will be featured in Peter Sirich's Sunday Measurement Workshop, so please, we'd welcome you to attend that. We will be demonstrating how to use the meter and how to identify common sources around the home. At the end of the presentation, we'll be offering a special conference discount code. We want to get this meter into your hands so you can begin testing in your home. So please stay tuned. Now for a little bit more about Safe Living Technologies.
Welcome to Safe Living Technologies headquarters in Canada. We are specialists in the detection and mitigation of electromagnetic pollution. Shown here are Rob, the founder and president, and Brian, who both started it all back in 2006. We are experienced, trusted, and innovative. The team includes Zach, Natalie, and Tyler, all here to help give you the best service possible. Safe Living Technologies also designs new products. Shown here is North America's first remote cutoff switch. It is used to turn off power to desired circuits in your home to reduce exposure to harmful AC electric fields. We also designed the Safe and Sound RF meter series. Shown here is our first version, which we have since improved and extensively tested for accuracy. It is the only RF meter in its price range to publish its frequency response curve. We supply many devices that can detect RF and low-frequency magnetic and electric fields. We are also partnered with companies that have high standards and strong ethics. We supply shielding that will protect you. Using only the highest quality certified products, including fabric, foil, paint, window film, bed canopies, and more. Whether it's for walls, garages, or windows, Safe Living Technologies carries everything you need for complete EMF mitigation solutions. In addition to our busy schedule of providing equipment and services, we also educate. Training building biologists, inspectors, and EMF specialists around the world, we also serve as technical advisors for advocacy work and human rights cases. We are a small company with a large network, making the invisible visible. Protecting against it. Immeasurable results. The frequency range of the Safe and Sound Pro 2 covers the radiation emitted by all cordless phones, cell phones, baby monitors, Bluetooth devices, upper and lower Wi-Fi bands, smart meters, cell phone towers, and more. The Safe and Sound Pro 2 displays all measurements in microwatts per square meter. Included in the box is the meter with 2 alkaline AA batteries installed, the operating manual, certificate of calibration, and a custom carrying case. To begin measuring, turn the unit on by simply sliding the power switch up to the middle or top position for enabling sound. The startup screen will show the self-calibration process and the current battery level in percent as shown. After this short display, you're ready to measure. Slowly scan an area for the highest reading. Be sure to move the meter in all directions while scanning and keep the meter at least 30 centimeters or 1 foot from your body. Shown here are the directions of best sensitivity. The pickup pattern can best be described as a figure 8. Note that the response time of the Safe & Sound Pro 2 is less than 5 microseconds. In other words, it is capable of measuring RF pulses that are less than 5 millionths of a second wide. In addition to the fast response and dynamic level indicator on the top line, the Safe & Sound Pro 2 also displays the following information updated up to 20 times per second as shown. The peak measurement is the instantaneous total power level of all sources in the full measurement band of 200 MHz to 8 GHz. The max is the highest peak reading since the meter was powered on or the max reset button was pressed. The average measurement is a time-averaged sum of all sources in the full measurement band of 200 MHz to 8 GHz. This value will often be much lower than the peak levels. This is due to the pulsed nature of most modern digital signal sources. Use only the peak or max values when considering the biological effects of microwave radiation. The average scale is provided as a reference to industry standards that consider only average power levels and their thermal or heating effects on tissue. The reality of modern high-speed digital services is that the peak power levels are much higher. The Safe & Sound Pro 2 RF meter features a max reset button. Simply press this button to immediately reset the displayed maximum value. Readings with a flashing green, less than 1 microwatt per square meter, are ideal, however, very difficult to achieve in most urban areas. Readings with a solid green, slight, are safe in the 1 to 10 microwatt per square meter range and suitable for long-term exposure. For readings found in the yellow, moderate range of 10 to 100 microwatts per square meter, try to reduce this level for long-term exposure. For readings found in the orange, high range of 100 to 1000 microwatts per square meter, try to limit time spent in these environments. For readings found in the red, extreme range of 1000 to 10,000 microwatts per square meter, try to limit your time spent in these environments as well. Readings with a slow flashing red range of 10,000 to 100,000 microwatts per square meter and a fast flashing greater than 100,000 microwatts per square meter should be considered too high. Avoid this exposure level whenever possible. The meter's adjustable speaker volume sound replicates the signal patterns and intensity of measured RF emissions, which aids in source identification. Once you have determined the highest peak reading, compare it to the latest building biology guidelines. Currently, SBM 2015 is the most recent building biology standard. A reasonable goal after mitigation would be to have levels reduced to the slight concern level in microwatts per square meter as shown. For more detailed information about the Safe & Sound Pro 2 and examples of common sound sources of microwave radiation, please visit the Safe Living Technologies website at slt.co.
Okay, so we're here. We're looking at this printer. We've identified that the source clearly is this printer as we get right beside it. The readings go very high. This is very common, and all printers, when they're brand new, they come this way out of the box. We've actually, if you pan over here, we've actually got an Ethernet cable in there, so we have no need for this wireless connection. So we're going to go into the menus and we're going to disable this. If we go into the setup menu followed by the network setup, there's a wireless menu right at the top, and this will vary from printer to printer, but at this point we want to turn the wireless off, and we do that. It'll save settings and it'll take a few seconds, but you'll notice that the readings didn't completely go away, and that's because usually there's one more setting. And so if we go back and we click on the Wi-Fi Direct menu, we notice that this is also on. So when we disable that, all of a sudden the wireless signals go away. And because we're on the network and we have an Ethernet cable plugged in, we can still print, and as you can see, our exposure went way down. Okay, so we are here and we're measuring a wireless router. It's 2.4 gigahertz. You can hear by the sound coming out of the Safe and Sound Pro 2. And as we move closer to it, the readings definitely increase. So we've identified the source that we're being exposed to here, and as you can see, I'm already connected to the internet with a internet cable, or Ethernet cable rather. So what I'm going to do is sign into this router with my computer and actually disable the settings on the wireless router so that it stops transmitting, but at the same time allows me to still get on the internet. So every router will be a little bit different, but for this router we need to type in 192.168.1.1, and that will allow me to connect to the settings. And once we sign in here, every menu will be different depending on the type of router you have, but they'll all be very similar. So you want to look for the wireless menu, and you'll see that right here we're enabled and we're transmitting at 2.4 gigahertz. So all we need to do at this point is click disabled and then save the settings. And as we see right away, we go from 1.7 million all the way down to 0.5 microwatts per meter squared. So very significant reduction, and I can still get on the internet because I am connected to an Ethernet cable. So to re-enable the wireless, it is the exact same process. You just change it back to enabled and you hit save. And everything is reinitializing and back online. But for now, I'm going to keep it disabled because I'm connected to an Ethernet cable. Okay, so we've successfully disabled our Wi-Fi in our last video, but as you can see here, I've got my meter and I still have a source of radio frequency signal that I'm measuring. And when I move the meter around the laptop, I can see that I'm reaching levels of about 13,000, 14,000. And with a little bit of investigation, we've determined that the Bluetooth is actually enabled on this laptop. So if you want to come around the side here, I will show you how that can be disabled. So as this is Windows 10 operating system, and when your Bluetooth is enabled, you click this little triangle beside the clock, and you see a Bluetooth icon here, which indicates the Bluetooth devices. So when we right-click on that, there is a settings menu, and that's where we need to go. And as we can see, the Bluetooth is currently set to on or enabled. So as soon as I click this button, that signal disappears. And as we can see, when we go back to the meter and test, we're down from 14,000, and the highest reading I can get is 1 or 2, which is the natural background, as you can hear from the sound on the meter. So that is how you disable Bluetooth. Okay, so we are looking at our Safe and Sound Pro 2, and as you can see, we have a different sound than we've heard in the previous videos, and we have a reading of 613,000, and as we move closer to this DECT base station, we find that this is the culprit. So with cordless phones, anything that says DECT 6.0 on the front here means it's a 6th generation DECT, and it is transmitting continuously 24/7 whether you're using this phone or not. Now, some of these devices come with satellite phones. This device actually has a satellite, and we'll get to that in a second, but the only way to actually reduce or eliminate this source is simply to unplug it. In terms of alternatives, there are some of the older technology cordless phones, the 900 megahertz phones, that only transmit while the phone is in use, or you could use this landline phone here as an alternative. And that's not transmitting at all. As you can see, now that we've unplugged the DECT phone, we're back to our natural background levels. So unfortunately, there's really no solutions for DECT other than to replace it with a different model or use a corded variation. And I mentioned over here that there's a satellite, but as you can see, the levels beside the satellite phone are much, much lower than they were by the base station. However, when we turn this satellite phone on to make a call or to pick up an incoming call, we see the levels drastically increase on the meter to about 2.2 million. And then when we turn this satellite back off, after about 15 seconds or so, these readings will go back to normal, and the satellite will stop transmitting, and there it is right there. So we're just left with the background level produced by the DECT base station, and as you can see, it's much lower than it is when the satellite is transmitting. We're here with our Safe and Sound Pro 2, and we have a video game console controller here. This is a modern console, and all the modern consoles are really kind of the same no matter which make, whether it's a PlayStation or an Xbox or a Nintendo Switch. They're all built on wireless platforms. So as we can see, when we're right up close to the controller, we're measuring about 40,000 microwatts, which is a pretty strong signal. Unfortunately, there really isn't a way to decrease that exposure through the settings of the PlayStation or anything like that. But we do have some shielding fabric that what happens if you cover this controller, we cut it down from about 40,000 down to about 20-25 microwatts per meter squared. So there are ways to reduce your exposure to these devices. There are also some consoles have wired controllers that you can purchase separately after the fact, which don't transmit wirelessly. The console itself will still transmit wirelessly the same sounds as the controllers are making, but at least you can reduce your exposure, and it's always good when you're done with the gaming console to turn it off when you're finished with it, and that way it's not radiating your room even when you're not using it. So there really isn't much you can do to eliminate this exposure, but in the case of gaming consoles, there are ways you can reduce your exposure over long periods of time.
We're going to measure the RF radiation coming off of a microwave oven. It broadcasts at 2.45 gigahertz, so well within the range of the Safe and Sound Pro meter. So here we go. We'll turn this on for a short period of time here and start it up. We can see at this distance the Safe and Sound Pro maxes out at 2.5 million microwatts per square meter. And as we move slowly away, we can see it decrease, but still fairly significant, even 1-2 feet away. And there we have it, RF radiation coming off of a microwave oven, and the solution is use a toaster oven instead of a microwave.
Shielding fabrics can be a part of an effective solution to lower your exposure to microwave radiation from nearby sources. They can be used for curtains, temporary shielding, and complete shielding solutions such as bed canopies. The canopies are designed to block radio frequencies and not low-frequency electric and magnetic fields. It is important to install in a low electric field environment and to verify the levels with an EMF meter or body voltage test kit. For complete details, please consult our canopy installation guide. Safe Living Technologies carries 6 types of Swiss Shield fabrics and create canopies out of the Daylight and Naturel materials. Daylight offers good shielding performance with 24 dB attenuation at 1 GHz. Naturel offers excellent shielding performance with 40 dB attenuation at 1 GHz. Properly installed bed canopies can provide exceptional shielding for your sleeping area. This is considered a critical area to have as little radiation as possible. Once installed, canopies effectively create what's known as a Faraday shield around your bed. Very little RF can get in or out of this area, but the fabric allows air to freely move in and out of the safe area. Safe Living Technologies makes canopies for all sizes of beds, along with any custom order that you may have. Using a Safe & Sound Pro RF meter, here we see high radiation levels in the bedroom. Under the protective shield of the canopy, the levels have now dropped by 100 times. Windows often allow a great deal of radiation to pass through into your home. Here is an example of a typical urban home that is exposed from a growing number of nearby cell base station antennas or towers. In this case, the window is allowing some nearby cell phone tower radiation into the room. A large curtain of Daylight fabric helps drop the radiation to under 5 microwatts per square meter. In this case, the walls and ceiling are allowing extra radiation through and will be treated with RF shielding paint. Windows can also be treated with a clear film that blocks RF radiation from cell towers and neighboring Wi-Fi signals, but allows light to pass through. Shown here are the clear and reflective silver options called Signal Protect. These products are available from Safe Living Technologies and allow you to create an effective RF shield without the need for window coverings. In particularly high RF environments, RF shielding foil and mesh can be used ideally during construction to provide the best shielding possible. Foil in particular is extremely effective by providing a possible greater than 100 dB attenuation of signals when installed as a complete enclosure. Safe Living Technologies stocks all of these products and has been installing them for years with first-hand experience. We try to choose the best holistic products that not only protect from electromagnetic pollution, but are compatible with an electrically sensitive person. For more information about everything that you have just seen in this video, please visit the Safe Living Technologies website at slt.co. Thank you for watching.